Hello, and welcome to our session, Digitizing Hidden Collections, Amplifying Unheard Voices, Redesigning a Legacy Program for Social Justice. I'm Sharon Burney, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Becca Quon and Joy Banks. Together, we are the CLIR Grants team, and we are glad to be here to share a look into the process of redesigning CLIR's longstanding Digitizing Hidden Special Collections and Archives program. On March 2021, Open Call for Proposals launched the third iteration of CLIR's Hidden Collections Program, which has roots that date back to 2008. What started as a funding opportunity for US nonprofit institutions to catalog their hidden collections shifted to supporting the digitization of collections. This year, it's been transformed again to continue the work of the digitization program with a new thematic focus, evolved core values, and expanded eligibility. Where earlier programs have encouraged the submission of projects representative of any topic, when putting together our most recent proposal for additional funding, CLIR was charged by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, which generously supports the program, to shift to a specific theme, bringing us to Amplifying Unheard Voices.
It's also important that we touch on why we're sharing our program updates at the DLF Forum in particular. Here we've included just a few of the efforts that have a home at CLIR. This includes programs which are staffed and supported by the organization. We've highlighted DLF, the Leading Change Institute, and the re-granting programs that we oversee on this slide. On the other side are affiliates, for which CLIR is a fiscal or administrative home. These include IIIF, NDSA, Open Repositories, and Code4Lib, among others. This constellation of initiatives that we have the privilege to work among, including DLF's working groups and forum, contribute to our understanding of the cultural heritage sector in myriad ways and inform our programs continually. So why change? While this charge from Mellon pushed forward the programmatic shift, CLIR had been discussing a thematic program focus for several years. As this funding renewal came, those years of field observations, conversations, and listening were grounded in the events and trauma of 2020. Our team agreed to intentionally prioritize funding of projects that propose to digitize materials that deepen the understanding of histories of people of color and other communities and populations whose work, experiences, and perspectives have been insufficiently recognized or unattended in digital collections. Part of selecting this theme was also recognizing that many predominantly white institutions, or PWIs, and large research organizations hold these materials and histories. This means we also need to take intentional steps to redesign our traditional program to be more approachable for minority-led cultural heritage organizations.
Between 2018 and 2020, the grants team enacted a number of shifts in the application language and structure to respond as best we were able within the restrictions of the existing program to our communities and a push toward equity and grant making. Given an entirely new program, we were able to completely redesign the structure and emphasis of the hidden collections application process. Just a few of our changes. The burden of the initial application was greatly reduced from previous years, recognizing that most organizations we hope to fund did not have the resources to invest in such a huge application in such a competitive two-part application process. Our guidelines were redesigned as a more accessible handbook to encourage greater use and to provide insights and instructions for each question. For the first time, we offered a review rubric to help applicants better understand how their applications would be evaluated by the independent review panel. And the final application was built as an expansion on the information submitted in the initial application. We are currently offering a new series of sessions for those invited to submit a final application, hopefully providing more focused support in a critical stage of project development, given how competitive funding remains. our efforts to create a more equitable grant-making program also extend to our instruction and support for the review panel. In addition to the new rubric, we're striving to build a diverse group representative of the cultural heritage field in the US and Canada, and to facilitate open conversations about how personal biases can influence the review process and how and why funding decisions are made. The last and perhaps most important motivation for change we'll discuss today was our desire to design a digitization program that prioritizes people. Guiding the theme and redesign of the application and review process, we've centered everything in the new core values of the program. For those familiar with hidden collections, we hope the shift away from traditional concepts of scholarship and cost efficiencies toward public good, community engagement, and sustainability are apparent. Our application of the new core values in this redesign is reflected from small shifts, such as preferring the term organization over institution, to more significant changes, such as adding markers throughout the application to specific core values and asking for explanations of how the budget supports fair and equitable wages, or how funds will be distributed among partners. In communication and instruction with reviewers, these values will be central to funding recommendations. Our team recognizes there is much work to do in grant making, shifting to more equitable practices, centering communities, and working to minimize the harm of limited funding opportunities.
Because the program is such a dramatic shift from previous iterations of hidden collections, Mellon also provided generous funding to conduct a concurrent program assessment. So in May of 2020, CLIR onboarded Ricky Punzalan and Jesse Johnson as our program assessors. They immediately started an assessment of the initial application phase, reviewing the support resources, conducting interviews, and analyzing survey responses. The lessons they learned from their work have already helped us shape the design and flow of the first review panel, the development of the final application, and the content of our applicant support sessions. We are looking forward to their first internal report and will continue to apply what we learned as we continue to shape the final application review process.
Our team is eager for the chance for external review of our efforts, and will be seeking answers to several research questions. What does the breadth of materials, formats, and topics represented among the initial applications indicate about the demand for this program? Are there obvious gaps among the range of topics, material types, geographic regions, or organization types represented in the initial applications? How do the outcomes of the program redesign compare with previous iterations of hidden collections in terms of the diversity of organizations, topics, and materials represented in the initial applications compared to awardees? Are the values and assessment criteria of the program clear to applicants, and is there enough support provided to develop competitive proposals? Similarly, are the values and assessment criteria of the program clear to reviewers, and do they receive enough support to evaluate proposals? What changes and improvements can we make to any aspects of the program and the support we offer? And what can CLIR do to capture and share lessons learned from this cohort of funded projects? CLIR looks forward to releasing a full public report of this assessment in summer 2021.
Our team has embraced Amplifying Unheard Voices as a pilot program, and we continue to question everything as we look to a possible program renewal. Here are a few of our ongoing conversations. We continue to look for ways to support post-custodial collection models to fund organizations seeking new ways to preserve diverse voices without claiming ownership of these stories. As a small team, our new program has introduced the challenges of successfully running an international grant-making program. With Canadian organizations now eligible to apply without a US-based organization, we've had a steep learning curve to support the expansion. We know there is still so much to learn and ways to improve our support to create a similarly equitable program to Canadian and perhaps other international organizations. While collaboration has long been a core value of Hidden Collections, our new program shifted this value to authentic partnerships. We are working to empower those whose perspectives have been insufficiently recognized or unattended to take a lead in this digitization and preservation work, to award funds where they can make the greatest impact, and to create models for this work that others can use.
If you've been involved in a Hidden Collections digitization project and would like to provide feedback about your experience, we've included our assessor's email on this slide. Please look out for the full report or join our mailing list to receive a link when published. We're looking forward to hosting a Digitizing Hidden Collections Symposium in 2022 to bring together current and former grant recipients and other interested in digitization projects. Please consider joining the planning committee if interested. Our thanks again to the program's assessment team and to the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation for funding these efforts. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions or ideas for our team, you can always reach us at hiddencollections@clir.org.